You get that? I'm so confused.
Also, ich verstehe nur Bahnhof.
You only understand train station? It's all Greek to me.
Understanding Train Station. Living Between Cultures with Josh and Phelan.
Welcome back to a new episode, and we're finally back together in person. We promised you guys for a while, but we finally made it.
We managed it finally, and you guys might be able to tell as well since the audio quality is, I'm guessing, going to be a little bit better than my little plug-in USB mic that I use. But yes, welcome back. Welcome back to Munich, Feli.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, it's been a while for you. Well, not that long.
Half a year. I feel like for some reason we always visit home at the same time. So like last year I was in Munich. You had just been to Cincinnati right before. Now I'm in Munich and you had just been to Cincinnati right before. And then I think Christmas usually.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because like those are the times that people like to go on vacation. But yeah, it is weird, like, especially because I saw you and your family just a couple weeks ago in Cincinnati, really like 2 weeks ago, basically.
Yep.
And now we're here in Munich, everyone, and it's just like, it's so weird.
It's like the same group just meets again, but on the other side of the world, basically. That's what it was like seeing my parents, because like they stayed with us, with Ben and me for a few days in Cincinnati, and then when we said goodbye to them, it was like, well, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. That's how I felt with my mom too, because my mom's coming to visit me in October. Right. So when I was there and said goodbye, it was like, I guess I'll see you in a month. Like, it's really not that big of a deal.
No, like a month or 2 weeks at that point is nothing.
Exactly.
That's like seeing someone tomorrow, basically.
Especially when you're not used to seeing someone for for longer periods of time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if you usually see your people like every few months or like once a year or something like that, 2 weeks or a month is literally nothing.
Yeah,
it's like I'll literally see you before we even get the chance to text again, kind of.
Exactly. I guess like the big update as far as Munich is concerned is it's Oktoberfest. Today's the first day of Oktoberfest.
Today that we're recording. Why are we doing this? Yeah. Anyway, everyone, like every Munich local is going to be like, what are you guys doing not being at the opening of Oktoberfest? Why are you recording a podcast instead?
Priorities.
I'll try to, first of all, obviously like priorities, work ethic, but also because it's very rainy and cold. I'm very tired, guys. I'm going to give you guys a disclaimer. I did not sleep a lot last night, and you can hear I sound drunk a little bit. I apologize for that, but that's real life.
Yes.
I'm a little bit jet lagged, but mainly I edited a video. Yeah, but the jet lag isn't even why I'm tired. I edited a video, and that's my fault. I wanted to really make a video about Oktoberfest for the opening of Oktoberfest, and of course it ended up to be much longer than I initially anticipated, and so it took me much longer to edit. And then of course when I'm here I have other stuff going on, and then I did it at night, again 2 nights actually, and still not fully done. But I apologize for my speech, but the reason why we're recording right now, it's really cold and rainy right now, and that's not... I mean, that happens in Germany, obviously, but for Oktoberfest, for some magical reason, the weather is usually a little bit better. Not always on the first weekend, but like at some point, it usually gets like really nice, kind of like a really nice warm fall weather with sunshine and like nicer temperatures. And this weekend is really not that. Yeah,
I mean, unfortunately, that seems to be the weather forecast for like the coming week, but... What I saw, at least yesterday when I checked next weekend is supposed to be nice. So knock on wood that it stays that way, because that's when I'm mostly planning on going.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to go during the week too.
That's going to be like so much better anyways. I'm going to have to go on the weekends because I'm only here for this weekend, and then we're going to Italy, and then we're going to be back for the last Oktoberfest weekend. So I'm only going to be here on weekends, which maybe wasn't the best planning, but Italy kind of has priority, and I know how to handle it. So we'll just go like early on one day to make sure that it doesn't get too stressful. But you're going to be going on the Italiener Wochenende.
I know. That's what I keep telling my roommates. Like, you guys know this is like the Italian weekend. I'm like, really? Oh, yes, we're so excited.
Yeah, because you have an Italian roommate too.
I have 1.5 Italians that I live with, because Letty's half Italian as well.
Yeah. I think we talked about that actually,
So
1.5 Italians.
Yes. So I think everyone's excited about it, and people are coming to stay in our WG. It's kind of like the hotel for the weekend, basically, when friends are coming.
That's usually what happens. Like if you live in Munich for Oktoberfest, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh hey," even if they haven't talked to you in like a year, they're gonna be like, "Oh hey, Josh, how are you doing? Do you still live in Munich?"
Yeah, we haven't talked in a while, but are you still in Munich?
Do you have a spot on your couch, maybe?
Do you happen to be there on that weekend?
Yeah. And then a lot of people also rent out their apartments in Munich. But I actually heard, because like this is the first Oktoberfest since 2019 that's taking place because they canceled it for 2 years. And people weren't really sure if it was going to be especially crazy this year and very, very busy because everyone's so excited, or if people are still a little bit hesitant with COVID still being a thing and everything. And so that it's going to be a little bit less crowded than usually. And I mean, I guess maybe they already have numbers from the opening today. As of right now that we're recording, it hasn't even been tapped yet, but people have already stormed. So basically how it works, like people line up in the morning, super early usually. And then I think they let people into the tents at, I want to say 10 or 9. Yeah, I think 10
is the opening time.
Yeah, maybe 10. Think. And I've done it once in my life, the lining up thing. And then you have to wait. So like basically people run, right? Like as soon as they let you onto the festival grounds, people run towards the tent so that they're first in line. And then you have to stand there in line. And then as soon as they open the tent, you run inside the tent to get a good table. And then you have to wait there until noon with nothing, with no food and no drinks. So it's not that much fun. Like people bring cards and everything, but like you can't, into the tent, you can't bring anything into that. Like, because on your way there, you can have like a Weg beer, like a beer in your hand or something like that if you want to start early or something, right? But you can't really bring that stuff into the tent. So then you just sit there and wait until noon because that's when Oktoberfest gets officially tapped in one of the tents. It's like where the mayor of Munich goes, and they have the whole parade first, and then they tap the first barrel of beer, and that's when everyone then gets their beer. That's when it starts,
yeah. Oh, I mean, I like to sleep in too much or like not have to get out of my apartment so quickly. So it sounds like a cool experience, but is it worth it?
It's like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. Like I'm sure there's Munich people who do it every year. Yeah. But I really don't know a lot of people who do it every year. Most of my friends have done it once. Yeah. It's kind of like a thing. If you've never done it, you have to do it one time. And it was cool. But then at the same time, it depends on, of course, how well you're trained and how rested you are. But if you get up at 6 or 5 in the morning and like line up super early, you're probably not going to last that long.
Exactly.
So then you're not going to be able to like stay. Is it really
that enjoyable then?
Yeah, you're going to be going home in the afternoon at some point because you're completely dead and probably drunk because you had been waiting without food. And
yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, all of that to say, it's Oktoberfest opening weekend.
Yes, but I'm still going to go later just to check it out. Same. Ben has never been. Maybe we'll go together. We're going to have to see. Just to like, get an impression of what it's like.
Taking the vibes.
Unfortunately, with the rain, it's just not going to be as nice to walk over the festival grounds. Because that's one of my favorite things, too, besides just the tents. It's just walking over it and getting all the smells and the vibes and the music. And because there's so many rides and booths and food. And it's a lot of childhood memories for me, basically. Yeah. So that's not really going to be the same today, unfortunately. But
who knows? Maybe the sun will decide that it'll pop out its head.
Yeah, and maybe the last Oktoberfest weekend will be better because that's probably going to be the main day, or not day, main weekend for me to actually do Oktoberfest, like get drunk and everything.
Well, we'll press our thumbs that it works.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, is there anything else we need to catch people up on? Well, we both traveled to Germany, obviously.
Yes. But I think we've had an episode since then.
Yeah, that's true.
Since I've traveled, because our last episode was basically about my travels in the US and then in France.
Yeah. You already talked about Paris. That's right.
So I think as far as from my side, we're pretty updated. I don't know if you have any other updates.
No, I don't think so. No, I think we're good to go. So today is going to be finally, it's been like half a year, another dialect guessing episode. If you guys don't know, we have like a series that we usually call Y'all Talk Funny. And it's basically us guessing where people come from or what your guys' dialects and accents are based on voice messages that you guys submit on anchor.fm/understandingtrainstation. And then you just click on that little message button and then you can send 1 minute long voice recordings. And that's what we're going to go through today.
Exactly. And I love doing these, and I know that you do as well, because it's a fun way to be able to interact with...
I always lose against you.
I'm not going to... I was going to say... I'm not going to say that's an incorrect statement. But... No, I think we especially love these episodes because it's a way for us to like interact with the listeners.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like we never get to hear you guys' voice.
Yeah, I mean, of course we have our monthly hangout, so we get to meet some of the people who support us on Patreon on a regular basis. But this is a fun way for us to hear who is listening to us, where you all are from,
Yeah.
and it's a fun way to interact with you guys.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about jumping into this. One cool thing is that there are people from all over the world that have sent us voice messages.
Yeah, literally.
Who speak different languages from different places, different countries.
People who like grew up with American English or Canadian English, but they grew up in Israel or something like that. And then I don't even remember exactly, but then that's why their accent is that particular because it's like a wild mix of something. Yeah.
For sure. And I think that's one, like I said, we love languages and we love I especially love languages, but just different cultures. And this is a fun way to kind of explore who's part of our community.
Yeah.
And another cool thing is to be able to speak their languages as well. So it helps to be able to understand their accent if you already speak the language. So if you guys are interested in improving your language skills, you should definitely check out our sponsor, Lingoda.
Yes, very true. Of course, you already know they're an online language school and they have the Lingoda Sprint going on, which means that it's an intense language challenge where you take 30 classes a month for 2 months if you do the super sprint. And if you follow through with that, that's like a really, really great way to really improve your language skills in a short amount of time and in a very significant way. Because the thing is, if you do it every day, your improvement is going to be so much bigger and more noticeable than if you do it once a week or something like that. It's just going to take you more lessons if you do it once a week. If you do it every day, your brain is just going to stay in the mode and it's more like an immersion kind of effect because you hear the language every day. So that's the super sprint. And that's basically you do it for 2 months, pretty much every day, one class every day. It's not like you have to do it all day. And they also have classes available all day long, 24/7, different topics, different language levels. And you can pick your level. And of course, you can pick from 5 different languages or 5 different. Well, the one isn't like a different language, but it's French, Spanish, German, English, and then business English, which isn't it can be a different language sometimes.
I was going to say, I mean, it is kind of a different language. I mean, some of the terminology, and it's funny too how business English is used in German as well. It's like another weird way of, like, the way that we speak at work is so bad. It's like
really?
Denglish all the way, but with lots of business English terms. So if you all are in the working environment or a business environment and want to improve your business English, it's a great opportunity to do so as well.
I definitely know that in Germany, like some of the positions nowadays have like these English titles where it's like a long title and you don't even know what it means. Like your job description, and then also things like was sind denn unsere learnings davon?
I mean,
stuff like that.
At work, like for example, people will say, ja, ihr müsst ja callen.
Oh God, that's
I'm so used to it now, and for me, I mean, it's just English, so like it's not a big deal. But it's weird to say it with a German accent. But yeah, it's really bad at work.
But so if you do the super sprint, you'll actually get 100% cash back if you follow through with all of those classes. But then they also have the regular sprint, just the sprint, where you do 15 classes a month for 2 months, and so that's like just a little bit less, but still very effective because it's, if you break it down, pretty much like every other day for 2 months. And then if you follow through with all of that and meet all the requirements that they have listed on their website, you can actually get 50% cash back. So at the end of the day, you're pretty much going to get this whole experience almost for free. I think there is like the deposit that you pay in the beginning, but you can actually get 20 euros or $25 off that deposit with our discount code UTS09 for September. So UTS for understanding train station, UTS09. And just make sure that you click on that link in the info box or in the show notes of the podcast description if you listen on the audio version. And then you'll get directed directly to the website. Directed directly. I should probably not talk. The good thing is that today we're going to be mostly listening.
Exactly. It's good for both of us because I'm also a little tired. But yes, make sure that you all check that out if you're interested. And with that, I'd say let's jump into the dialects, your guys' voice messages that you've sent us.
So I don't think we're going to be able to go through all of them. I know we say this every episode, and for some reason last time I thought that, okay, next time we do this, of course I thought we would do it a little bit earlier, but I thought next time we do this, we're going to be able to kind of catch up with all the recordings that we have. But in the last 6 months, you guys have sent so many new recordings.
And we've also sent out a couple reminders to people. So thank you all for sending them in. But yes, we have quite a bit now.
Yeah, we have quite a bit. I don't think we're going to be able to go through all of them in one sitting, but that just gives us more recordings to go through next time. So, are you ready, Josh?
Let's put the headphones on and take it away.
Okay, so the next recording that we have in our list is from Sandra. I don't know if I should say her last name. I'm not going to say her last because it says like a full name, and I think that kind of probably gives it away. I don't know. And the title is the boring accent. But the thing is, you're so much better at guessing accents anyways that like if I know that and you don't, it's not even going to help me anyway.
Let's see.
Hey guys, my name is Sandra. I just wanted to let you know that I love the podcast and tuning in every 2 weeks to hear about all the interesting topics. It's really great and super nice to listen to while I'm working. So thank you guys for that. In terms of my accent, I don't necessarily have a specific phrase that I would like to say. So I was thinking maybe you could just listen to me talking right now and guess, which I know is really hard. So if you guys get this one, it's going to be really awesome. So I will give you a few seconds to think about it.
Okay, pause, I guess.
Hold on. I didn't. Okay, never mind. The last name didn't even help anything.
Okay.
I kind of, for some reason, thought that she was going to give us like a phrase. I was like not even really trying to figure out her accent based on her English. Do you want to listen again?
No, I mean, for me, she sounds very, very general American.
Yeah.
I would guess more north than south.
Okay.
Like,
I wasn't prepared to be guessing in like an American accent within the US.
yeah, let's listen again.
Hey guys, my name is Sandra. I just wanted to let you know that I love.
But look, when she said Sandra, I thought she was like she has a different language background.
Yeah.
So like, okay, maybe she's Italian from like New York or something like that. She has like Italian
so obviously
ancestry
she has an Italian last name. What it sounds like to me is I'm definitely going further north, and I would almost even say Canadian.
Okay.
There's a soft quality about her voice that I feel like I hear with Canadians a lot.
Okay.
But there isn't anything that's necessarily super Canadian that she said so far.
Let's see if she does any of the like U sounds or the O sounds differently. But no, the only thing is like when she said Sandra instead of like Sandra or like a more typical American name, I just like automatically went to, okay, she's going to give us some phrase that's typical, and then she didn't.
It is difficult though, since she hasn't given us any like regional phrase that you can pinpoint.
But okay, let's keep listening.
The podcast and tuning in every 2 weeks to hear about all the interesting topics. It's really great and super nice to listen to. Wow.
You know what's funny? There's a Canadian creator on Instagram and she sounds a little bit like her, but I don't know if that's more like a personal thing, like
exactly
of how people speak, or if this is a Canadian thing.
Yeah, we'll find out. Who knows? Maybe she's not Canadian.
I'm working, so thank you guys for that. In terms of my accent, I don't necessarily have a specific phrase that I would like to say. So I was thinking maybe you could just listen to me talking right now and guess, which I know is really hard. So if you guys get this one, it's going to be really awesome. So I will give you a few seconds.
Pause it one more time.
About.
Some of the things that she says, to me at least, sound almost non-native. Some of the phrasing.
That's what I thought at first.
Which is, I thought the first time too, but you never know because people just have different speech patterns.
Yeah.
So I might even say French Canadian.
That would.
But she doesn't have like a
guess.
strong French Canadian accent, so I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just some things in the phrasing that or word choice that I'm like, I wouldn't necessarily have said it that way.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead because I want to like basically submit a guess.
Yes.
And it's not gonna be the same as yours, but I'm gonna go ahead and just say that maybe she's Canadian. I don't know that for sure. But that she has like Italian ancestry. That's my guess. Or like something where they would say because like in French they would say like Sandra or like
Zondra.
they would, or Zondra. Yeah, I don't even know that name. I don't know any French person with that name actually. Or like I've never heard of a French person with that name.
Yeah.
So now I will reveal that I am from the French-speaking part of Canada.
Let's go!
Specifically the city of Montreal, Quebec.
Okay.
So, wish you guys a great day. Take care.
I just talked to someone from Montreal yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But they don't sound anything like her.
No, I mean, I feel like most of the time French Canadians have a stronger accent than that. But I have to say I'm very proud of myself.
Yeah, that was very good. What's crazy too is like the more we do this stuff, the less, like the more confused I get. Like the more we do this, like the less I feel like I have any clue where someone's from. Okay, so the next one. Well, thank you, Sandra.
Yeah.
Sandra.
Sandra. Sandra. Yeah, we'll say Sandra. Sandra.
She said Sandra, I think, for submitting this and also for giving us nice feedback about the podcast.
Yes, thank you very much.
Next up, we have greetings. I love your Y'all Talk Funny series. That was like complicated. Here's an English accent for you to guess. Okay.
Hey guys, this is Salma.
Alma.
Today I'm going to share with you my go-to coffee order. So I would get a blonde espresso oat milk latte with a little bit of honey and a little bit of cinnamon powder. On a hot day, I would get it over ice.
Should I pause? Okay, I wasn't sure if she was done. The only word
her name
that
is
she
Alma?
said, yeah.
Okay,
the only word that she said weirdly is like oat milk.
Yeah, and the fact that she said over ice, I wouldn't.
On ice.
I'm guessing that she's Latina based off of the name Alma. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking either like LA or New York, but I would guess more LA.
Okay.
Or like West Coast, so Californian is my feeling.
Okay, let's find out.
I was born in California, Southern California, and then grew up in Western Texas in El Paso, Texas,
okay.
and now live in Phoenix, Arizona. And I am first generation Mexican American.
Yeah.
And you think that's why she says over ice?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Or do you think they say it like in that? Because like she says she was born in California, so like do they just say it in those communities maybe?
Yeah, I think it's like she's Chicana, so like in those communities sometimes there's the influence, especially with prepositions from
So is that how you
Spanish.
say it in Spanish?
Sobrelleno? To be honest, I don't know how you would say it, but I mean, her name obviously was a big influence on me being able to figure that out. But I wouldn't have guessed Texas. Yeah, but it makes sense if she's like grew up near El Paso as well. Like I said, I just knew there had to be some sort of Latino influence because of her name and also the preposition.
Well, I would have had no idea. I thought she said oat milk a little funny or like differently than I feel like people say it in the Midwest. But the over ice thing, I didn't even really catch that. Like I wouldn't have phrased it like that, but as a non-native speaker, it's like just because I don't say it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist or like some people don't say it.
And a lot of people could say it, and I could be wrong. That might be a way that the majority of people say it. I just would have said like on ice.
On ice,
or with ice.
Or iced. Like I get it iced or Okay, next up, we're just going to go through this like quickly. Yeah. I'm not even going to submit guesses anymore at this point. No, just kidding.
No, you have to.
If it's something that I can actually guess where I actually have a clue.
But this is kind of fun that we've had more North American accents too.
Yeah, because in the beginnings we always had Germans or like German speakers. Mm-hmm. So next up we have, it just says David or David. That's
we'll find out.
Grüß Gott.
David.
Erstens ein bisschen auf Deutsch und dann nicht. Okay. Ich heiße David. Weiß nicht, ob mein Deutsch perfekt genug sei, für euch auszumachen, wovon ich wirklich komme. Aber Spoiler alert, I will change that presently. Matter of fact, I just did. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So,
anyways,
is he gonna give it away or hold on?
So, I mean,
okay.
One interesting thing is like, I didn't, based on the way he said Grüß Gott, I was like, okay, I don't think he's German.
Yeah.
But I did think he might be Dutch for a second, which is funny because I know you always say that.
He was going to give us a German speaking dialect.
Yeah.
But he
did not expect him to have such a heavy Southern American accent.
Whenever he started speaking American, whenever he started speaking English, I was like, oh, okay. Because at first I heard like the way that he said "aber" sounded a little bit French, but I thought like he said like "aber" or something like that. But I think he was just maybe overdoing the German R or something like that. Which like he did not have a strong English accent when he spoke. German, he didn't do like the English R's or anything like that. So at first obviously I could tell that he wasn't a native speaker, like based on his pronunciation and grammar and everything, but I wouldn't have been able to just tell, oh, this is an American speaking German.
That wasn't my initial reaction. Do you have an idea based off of when he was speaking English, where in the US he's from?
The Southern sounds Southern to me. I know that there's like, I saw a TikTok the other day where they like pinpointed like the different Southern accents, but I would have to listen again for a second to just the English
let's listen to it again.
Part.
Ich wirklich komme, aber spoiler alert, I will change that presently. Matter of fact, I just did. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And he didn't even say that much anymore.
Pause it, because I what's your guess for the
Southern?
US?
I don't know. I literally
You can't
don't
get more
know.
specific than Southern?
I mean, okay, I watched the TikTok the other day where they said like Texas is more like just plain like a little bit of a draw. Georgia is more like sing-sang, they said. He didn't say it enough, honestly.
Okay.
I mean...
Yeah, that's okay. I mean,
really
I just was wondering.
know.
I'm guessing Tennessee.
Okay.
Anyways, try to guess where I'm from. If you can guess, good. If not, well,
are you not going to tell us?
I'm going to give it to you.
Okay.
I'm from North Florida, specifically Lake City, Florida.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's one funny thing about Florida is the further south you go, the more northern it is.
Yeah.
So North Florida has a lot of similarities with like Georgia and the deep south.
Yeah, because it's bordering that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you go like further south towards like Miami or like Tampa, it's definitely more like the north in the U.S.
Right, because like that's where all the people move to. That's where like, you know, when people retire, but also young people for career opportunities, for the weather, whatever. So like, yeah, I guess it's probably not that many locals there, and the locals there probably don't speak like that either.
Yeah, so I never, when I hear a Southern accent, I almost never think
Florida.
I never think of Florida.
Right, yeah.
Interesting though. I would have guessed that he was more from like the Appalachian region, but
that's the thing. Like to me, he sounded very normal. What I would hear in Kentucky, even. So like that's when you said Tennessee, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense because Tennessee is like one state south of Kentucky, and Cincinnati is like almost in Kentucky, half in Kentucky, basically. So like whenever I hear a Southern accent around there, it's usually like the Kentucky influence.
Yeah.
And so that's just what it sounded like to me. Like very normal, like very, very standard Southern, I guess.
I think for me, it was a little stronger than what I feel like I hear in the greater Cincinnati area.
No, yeah, for sure. If you go more south,
if you go
from
further
Cincinnati,
south.
yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, in like northern Kentucky, right by Cincinnati, you don't hear it that a lot.
No.
Like at all. Except if there's sometimes, of course, people that have moved up from Kentucky. And that's just like, I think, the main group of Southerners that you will meet in that area. Like, for example, we had a like handyman contractor at my old place that was like responsible, like when I was still renting, and he was like the person that was responsible for coming to fix stuff. And I struggled understanding him because he had such a thick Southern accent, and he was an older guy. And I don't think he really understood that I wasn't a native speaker and I couldn't really pick up on all of that. And so like those are the kind of interactions that I've had with people. And then they're usually from, you know, Kentucky, and they've just moved up a few hours.
Exactly. But David, thanks for sending that in.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh, his name's David, because I thought, okay, he's from some German-speaking country because he said Grüß Gott. But nope. Turned out that was not the case. Grüß Gott, by the way, means greet God. And that's a greeting that's common in Bavaria and Austria. It's like a formal greeting instead of Guten Tag. That you would say in other parts of Germany. And that's usually what you learn in German class is Guten Tag. But here, I think you never hear Guten Tag, really.
No.
Barely.
I hear it on the phone. Like, if you're it depends on where you're calling. If you're calling something that's more local, then you normally hear Grüß Gott. But otherwise, I hear Guten Tag. Like I said, when people answer the phone, I hear that sometimes.
Yeah. I don't think that anyone in Munich would answer the phone with Guten Tag.
Yeah.
So that's like if you're being formal, or like if it's older people or like, you know, in a store or something like that, you'll usually hear either just a regular Hallo or Willkommen or whatever, like depends on the situation, or like a Grüß Gott. So next up we have, okay, I think this name at least gives something away. Jürgen from ... Just kidding. So I'm assuming we're going to hear German dialect or German accent. Let's see.
Hi guys, I'm Jürgen, love your show. I got 2 short examples for you. They are not that difficult, I think, but they are also idioms, so you'd also need to guess what they actually mean. The first one is, Wem gehör schon du? In standard German it would be...
Oh, hold on. That was short. Wer gehört schon du? Wer gehört schon du? Hold on, let's listen again.
Yeah, try playing it again.
The first one is, Wem gehör schon du?
Wem gehörst... wem gehörst denn du?
Yeah.
That's what I would... Like, maybe if you say to a kid or something like that. Or,
I
don't know.
It's a weird saying, but he said it's an idiom too, so I don't... But I would have guessed, Wem gehörst denn du?
Yeah, let's see if that's right.
In standard German it would be, Wem gehörst auch du?
Okay.
Auch du.
Who you belong to. That's the way how we ask a child, who are your parents, or what family do you belong to?
Do you have an idea of where he could be from based off of that already?
The thing is, I don't do all that at once in my brain.
Sorry. I'm getting Allgäu vibes.
This one is,
Schwäbisch a little
Wem
bit.
gehör schon du? in standard German, it would be wem gehörst.
We've had so many of those dialects where like I thought it was Schwäbisch and then it's like not Schwäbisch, but it's something else. It's like Badisch or like Rheinländisch or something like that, where like they also do that.
Belong to. That's the way how we ask a child, who are your parents or what family do you belong to? And the second one is, wie schreibst du dich?
Wie schreibst du dich vielleicht?
He might be from like Vorarlberg.
Yeah.
Because when he speaks English, I hear more of an Austrian accent than I hear a German accent.
Yeah, I thought he didn't really sound German when he spoke English too.
But then schrieben, like that's very like close to Swiss German.
Yeah.
Where they changed the EI to an IE. So I'm gonna say he's maybe Vorarlberg. Or Vorarlberg. I don't know where you put that.
What family do you belong to? And the second one is, wie schreibst du dich?
And it's wir also.
Wie schreibst du dich? Wie heißt du, glaube ich.
Ja. Naja, ich würde jetzt eher sagen, wie schreibst du dich? Also
wie
quasi, wie schreibt man deinen Namen?
Ah, okay.
Das hätte ich jetzt... now I'm speaking German. That's what I would have guessed. It's more like,
that makes sense.
How do you spell your name?
Yeah.
But we'll see. Like, that's kind of like the only... like situation in German, at least in German, where I would say that, or where I feel like I've never heard that
before. So I mean,
I wouldn't say that's like something. It's probably not proper grammar. I think it's more something that people say here and there.
Yeah, I mean, I just was gonna say I associate it with your name at some.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
And he also said wir instead of wie, so like that's also that could go into like the Austrian thing, like what you said. But for like Vorarlbergerisch, the funny thing is I don't really know that much about the dialect. I just know it sounds a little bit Swiss, and it's usually a dialect that I can't understand, because usually in Austria I can stand most of their dialects. There's like a few that are definitely, they can get difficult, but Vorarlbergerisch is really the one where it just sounds like a completely different language. And those two examples at least weren't that hard.
Yeah.
So that's like the only, like I would say, okay, that's not difficult enough for Vorarlbergerisch, but maybe he just picked easier ones.
Wie schreibst du dich? What is your last name?
Okay. Not just like how do you spell your name, but what is your last name? Okay, so then you were a little bit more right with like what's your name.
I think I got lucky there though.
Interesting. No, I've never heard it like that. It's more like I would ask you, like, if you tell me, like, oh, my name's Josh, I would say, like, oh, wie schreibst du dich? Or, I mean, of course, you would probably say, wie schreibt man das? How do you spell that? But if someone said, wie schreibst du dich? I would say, oh, F-E-L-I.
And I'm, of course, from
Vorarlberg
in Western Austria. So in case you guess Liechtenstein or Switzerland, it's close enough. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks for sending it in.
Thank you so much. Let's go.
Cool. So thank you, Jürgen. That's like Jürgen, when I read that name, I don't know why that is, but I just automatically think like a very German.
Yes.
Like that's not an Austrian name in my mind.
Exactly. I think the same thing. I think of like, I don't know how to describe like your stereotypical German like dad.
Very much so.
Yes.
Yep. with like a good backpack, like a Deuter backpack, and like maybe the zipper pants.
Yep.
And like your sandals.
Exactly.
My parents said that they were spotting German tourists in the US just by like how they were dressed, and then we were like, Ben and I asked like, oh, but how did you spot them? I mean, I feel like I can tell who's German when I'm in the US just by looking at them.
Yeah.
And they were like, they had like the sandals and the backpack and the baseball hat, and I was like, but that's what you guys were wearing too.
I was going to say like, your parents look very German as well.
Yeah, but we're German too. They do.
But yes, thank you, Jürgen, for sending that in. And yes, I'm so happy with our abilities to get these. It's so much fun.
Yours, you mean?
Ours? No, this is teamwork. It's teamwork.
Okay, next time you're going to have to give me a second to give my guess before you give your guess.
Did I influence you this time? Huh? Yeah, I guess so.
But the next, I don't know if the next one is maybe giving it away a little bit, but we'll see. I'm going to read it to you so that we both know the same thing. The title is Matilda, Guess Where I Come From, and then it is by Easy Italian.
Okay. Well, yeah, that if it's...
Hallo Feli, hallo Josh.
Never mind. I don't know.
Ich bin Matilda Und ich möchte mich erstmal ganz herzlich für euren Podcast bedanken, weil der so schön ist und es macht so viel Spaß. Ich habe mir all euren Episoden angehört.
Dankeschön.
Ja, jetzt bin ich mal gespannt zu wissen, ob ihr herausfinden könnt, wo ich herkomme. Ja, jetzt gebe ich euch so ein paar Sekunden.
Okay, that was it. That sounds like a very familiar accent. The easy Italian is throwing me off, but she doesn't sound that Italian. Like,
do you think she has a foreign accent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me listen again. Like, I 100% know people with that exact same accent, but...
Und ich möchte mich erstmal ganz herzlich für euren Podcast bedanken, weil der
I mean,
so
my first
schön
guess is French again because of the kind of R sounds, but it might not be, though.
Und es macht so viel Spaß. Ich habe mir all euren Episoden angehört.
All euren. I have family in France, and they talk a little bit like that when they speak German, but like, I think other people though do too. Because her German's really good.
Yeah.
So like, there's really only a few little things. Like, there's like one little grammar mistake, and then like just a few pronunciation differences.
Ja, jetzt bin ich mal gespannt zu wissen.
And also the gespannt, I don't know why, but the sp, the way she says that is not the way that Germans say it.
Ob ihr rausfinden könnt.
I think it's the deep R that always makes me think French, but it could be other countries who just learn the R and just do it like that.
Wo ich herkomme.
It could make sense. Now, this is using context clues. This for
with
me,
Italian.
I would guess Switzerland.
Ah, okay, yeah, that could also work with
because of the if you're saying you think that there's French, I have no clue with this one.
Yeah, I mean, she could also be from Italian speaking.
Exactly. So this is what I'm thinking is that she's Swiss and grew up with. I mean, I'm guessing she speaks Italian based off of from Easy Italian.
Yeah, but that could also be like completely wrong.
Exactly. But then you're also saying the French influence, which I hear somewhat when you say that, but it also sounds, as far as German is concerned, more Southern German than Northern German, I would say, as far as pronunciation influences.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would guess Switzerland, but that's
that's
shot in the dark.
a good guess, actually. That would be.
It doesn't sound like Swiss German at all, though.
No. Just
or
like
Swiss German
more
speakers
maybe with the sounds
German.
she's making. But some people also just like when they do learn the German R, maybe that's just how they'll make it. Like that's just maybe how they'll end up doing it. So, but she does not definitely sound stereotypical Italian. Like when Italian speaks German, they don't usually sound like that. But who knows? Maybe she's like next level, and she's already come to a point where her accent doesn't sound Italian anymore. I guess let's just find out.
Yep.
Sekunden.
Ja.
Ja, wie ihr raushören könnt, habe ich einen Akzent, wenn ich Deutsch spreche. Und zwar ich bin halb Italienerin und halb Albanerin, wobei ich mein ganzes Leben in Italien verbracht habe. Und ja, genau, diese Sprachen spreche ich muttersprachlich. Dankeschön und einen schönen Tag. Ciao.
Maybe. Okay, so what she said is that we have to translate, she's half Italian and half Albanian, and those are her two first languages, and she says she's been living in Italy her whole life. So maybe the Albanian is that influence that we heard there, but I don't know enough about that language at all.
Neither do I.
I don't even know if they have those sounds, to be honest.
I have no clue.
So, but that's very interesting. You sounded a little bit French. So Matilda is also a French name too. I mean, but that name exists in all languages, I think.
But you definitely stumped me on this one.
Yeah, that was definitely difficult. The next one says, my accent / guess where I'm from, and the name is Hans or Hans. I don't know.
Hans? No one says that. Hans.
The funny thing is, like, when Americans say Hans, they always pronounce the vowel so long.
Yeah, Hans.
And they usually don't hear it. That's like the weird thing when like teaching someone is like, what do you mean? It's not Hans, it's Hans. And then people are like, that's what I just said. Or like Heidi Klum, for example. She's German, right? But she
Heidi Klum.
Yeah, she's active in the US. She's like on the jury or on the what do you
panel
call
it? Or she's one of the judges.
One of the judges on America's Got Talent. Mm-hmm. And I saw a thing the other day on Instagram, I think, where it was like a little promotion, and she introduced herself, and she says Heidi Klum, like she says it like American Heidi Klum. Whereas like in Germany, which she also is big on German TV. She would never say that. No. She would say Heidi Klum.
Yeah, exactly. That's something that's definitely, you have to practice to be able to hear that difference, I would say.
It's so weird. Germans hear it right away, but Americans don't hear that. And that's like the thing where it's like, depending on which language you were socialized with, that's the categories that you think in. And if it's like a sound difference that doesn't really exist in your language, then you just might not hear it.
Yeah.
And Germans have that with like a lot of things in English as well. Like we have trouble hearing the difference between like S sounds sometimes, or like the hard versus soft consonants, like D versus T.
Yeah.
I think we do hear it if we concentrate on it, but in a lot of cases it sounds the same to us at first, even though it's so different. Because when we have a D at the end of a word, we always pronounce a T. And when we have a T at the end of the word, we also pronounce a T. So to us, that's the same.
Yeah.
And that's just like, it's so
very
weird.
hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. Very hard. And I'm part of that app, Clio, right? And like we recorded something the other day, and it's just me and then two people who are not German speakers.
Okay.
And I explain different things in the app, and they're just like, did you just screw that up? Like, did you just say the same thing twice? And I'm like, no, like I said two different things.
Do you have an
for
example?
Sure. Like, for example, they really struggled hearing the difference between the umlauts Ö and Ü.
Yeah, that took me a while to be able to hear the difference, though.
Which is the O umlaut and the U umlaut.
Yeah.
And then there was one other thing where they really struggled hearing it. I think, so like we explained vowels, and kind of what I said just now, we explained long versus short vowels, and they sometimes couldn't hear the difference there. And they were like, wait, did you just say it long or short? And I was like, that was long, like obviously. And they just couldn't hear it. And they were like, but that's how you said it when you said it short. So basically, for example, in my name, it's a long vowel, it's a long E. Most Americans can't do that, so they say a short one. So long would be Feli, and short would be Feli.
Yeah.
And for some reason, if you grow up with English as your first language, you really struggle hearing that difference.
Yeah.
And with U too, like as we said, klum or klum.
Yeah.
Like klum is a long vowel.
There's a clear difference, but it's weird how you just don't detect it sometimes.
And in German, that's like night and day.
Yeah.
Like, but just because we grew up like that, it's so weird.
For sure.
Anyways, let's go back to Hans or Hans.
Hans.
And let's hear what he has to say.
Hallo Josh und Feli, ich heiße Hans. Und ich war in Deutschland für die 2020-2021 Schuljahr.
Cool.
Und ich kennenlerne Deutsch, wann ich war da. Ich habe eine kleine Frage für dich. Wo komme ich aus?
I would have guessed something English speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't sound particularly like British when he speaks German, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of English speakers sound kind of similar when they speak German. You can tell when someone's Australian and speaks German. I would have just guessed American now. But
that would have been my guess too. I mean, the only other thought I had was maybe Irish, but he doesn't have any distinguishing factors, in my opinion, that make him sound particularly Irish. I would have just guessed American.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you know where in the US though? Like that's
that would be next level. I mean, if someone had a really, really heavy Southern accent when they speak English, maybe that would show up in the way that they speak German.
I don't even know.
Yeah, but no.
Let's see what he says.
Ich komme aus ein großes Land und wir sprechen nicht Deutsch.
I would have guessed that. He said, I'm from a big country and we don't speak German.
Yeah.
I would have guessed that. Not that, like, your German is great for being there for, like, just 1 year or, like, however many months, but you can definitely tell that you have an
I mean,
accent.
maybe just to translate real quick, he said that he only learned German while he was in Germany for a school year. It was 2020 and 2021, right? Yeah.
Which, like, I mean, it kind of depends on what he means by school year. If it's, like, high school or university, but if it's, like, regular school, like high school or any other type of school in Germany, that would have been from like August, September, all the way through like July. So like almost a full year actually, because we don't have a long summer break. Let's see.
Hast du eine Frage?
Hast du eine Frage? No?
Ich komme aus den USA.
Yeah.
Oh, but he doesn't.
I'm going to switch to English now. I wanted to thank y'all for the podcast y'all are doing.
Y'all are doing?
Try to keep up watching the episodes as much as I can.
Thank you.
And y'all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sending that in. Yeah, I mean, it's...
He did say y'all, so that kind of pinpoints it to like probably somewhere more in the southern part of the U.S., but they say y'all in like a lot of different places.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, y'all is... it helps, like you said, it helps you get directed towards the south, but it's not particularly specific.
No.
But no, I mean, that's an accent that we're both, of course, very used to. And I think I used to speak more like that when I first started learning German, like the ich, I would say more as an ish. Yeah. So keep up the good work, though.
Yeah, you're doing great. Like, we could understand everything you said, so that's like the first goal.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Anna Maria. I think that's German.
I'm guessing.
Anna Maria. And it's my local dialects. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Anne Maria. First of all, I want to thank
Never mind, it's
you
not
for
German.
the great podcast. Now I will say a sentence in my local dialect, then I will say the same sentence in the standard language.
So we have like a little bit of a background noise
Yeah.
on there, like I think microphone noise. That makes it a little bit harder, but
A little bit of
let's see if we can.
And after that, I'll translate it into English. I will send another message with an anecdote and where I'm from. The dialect sentence is: Habt ihr fertig jausen? Wir müssen eine Stunde klammern, morgen setzen wir die Äpfel.
Okay, she's German. At first, when she said the first word, she sounded like not German. Like she sounded like she's speaking English with a different accent.
Okay. You know, I thought she was German at the beginning, but...
Well, she is.
Yeah.
But now let's listen to that again. That sounded very Bavarian to me. But as we like all know from all of our episodes, Bavarian isn't Bavarian. Like there's different Bavarians. It could be Austrian. But to me, at first, it just sounds Oberbayerisch a little bit. But let's see.
The dialect sentence is: Habt ihr fertig jausen? Wir müssen eine Stunde klammern, morgen setzen wir die Äpfel.
She said Jausen, so that puts her in Austria.
Oh, what does Jausen mean?
It's like a Brotzeit.
Also habt ihr fertig Jausen? Oder like, are you done? Or
have you guys
like
finished? Or have you finished eating?
And then she said something about Äpfel, like about apples. I forget the rest. Do you know what she said?
Maybe play it one more time.
The dialect sentence is: Habt ihr fertig jausen? Wir müssen eine Stunde klammern, morgen setzen wir die Äpfel.
Wir müssen noch Stunde klammern.
Vielleicht uns beeilen? Keine Ahnung.
They still have to do something, and tomorrow they have to. Do they have to harvest apples or something like that? Because
Die
it's
Äpfel
something.
ernten.
Morgen setzen wir die Äpfel.
Setzen wir die. Pflanzen, glaube ich. I think they're gonna plant or seed, like setzen, glaube ich. Setzen wir die Äpfel. Like I would kind of assume, I don't know for sure, that maybe means like you seed, like you plant seeds.
Okay, yeah, the second half is too difficult for me to be able to.
Let's see with that knowledge.
Wir müssen eine Stunde klammern, morgen setzen wir die Äpfel.
Storner glauben, maybe, like zusammenklauben, maybe.
Ja, oder klappen, zusammenklappen.
I don't know. Storner oder I don't know what she said there exactly. No. So I don't know. Maybe I'm completely off with the apples too, but for some reason I'm now putting her on like a farm or something like that. But she could have also said something completely different about apples, maybe. Yeah. But she definitely said apples.
Maybe it's not actually apples.
In this little language, that is: Habt ihr schon fertig gejausnet? Wir müssen noch Steine glauben, weil morgen setzen wir die Erdäpfel.
Die Erdäpfel, okay, so die Kartoffeln. Okay, so instead of just apples, it's actually potatoes, but they call them, kind of like in French, for example, they call them ground apples, I guess is how you would translate it. So that one we missed, but the Glauben was actually right on my end, like, but she said Steine glauben, so like...
Glauben is a word I don't know.
It's also a Bavarian word, so it basically means collecting, or like...
Okay, I mean, makes sense.
It's kind of like sweeping, but outside.
Yeah, like, what's... Yeah, essentially we have to remove the stones from the field because we have to plant the potatoes. She also used the word jausen still.
In the standard version. So she probably doesn't realize it's standard German. So if you say that's Austrian, I wouldn't have known that, but I would have definitely known that I am not familiar with that word from Oberbayerisch. So either I would have guessed that it's like a very particular village somewhere in Bavaria where like they just use that word and I'm not familiar with it, but since you said it's Austrian, then I guess she's maybe from Oberösterreich or something like that, or what do you think in Austria? But the rest sounded very easy to understand for me.
It didn't sound like super like Oberösterreichisch if you ask me, but we'll see.
Like what else, like it's just very similar to Bavarian.
It's just snacks. We need to pick up the stones because we want to plant potatoes tomorrow.
Okay, so here's her next clip that she sent in.
Hi, I live in a region called Waldviertel. That is the northwestern part of Lower Austria.
Okay.
I live here on a farm and I have a funny anecdote to share with you.
That's what I thought, that she lived on a farm.
German for that.
Okay, we're gonna have to translate that.
Eines Tages hatten wir einen Praktikanten aus Deutschland bei uns. Wie jeden Tag besprachen wir am Esstisch, was wir heute gemeinsam machen werden.
Okay, one day they had an intern from Germany, and just like they did every day, they sat down at the dining table and talked about what they had to do for the day.
Wir kündigten ihm an, dass wir gemeinsam Steine klauben gehen.
We told him that we were going to go Steine klauben together, so like to pick up the stones, but they used that dialect word.
Als wir über das Feld gingen und die Steine aufsammelten, fragte er mich, ist das euer Feld? Ich sagte, ja. Er fragte, warum nennt ihr das denn Steine klauen?
Okay, so as they walked over the field, he asked, is this your field? She says, yes. And he's like, but why do you then call it Steine klauen? So stealing stones.
Yeah.
Because he also,
That's what I understood when you first said it. I was like, klauen. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but
it's
klauben.
with a B. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's just not, I didn't even realize that, to be honest, because that's a normal word for me. I don't usually use it, but I didn't.
you don't go Steine klauben very often?
Well, like, for example, people here use it in the fall for Laub klauben. Like,
okay. Unkraut ziehen, oder
no,
wie?
like Laub, like leaves.
Okay. But yeah, essentially he made the mistake of understanding klauen, which is to steal, instead of klauben, which is to collect the stones.
That's interesting that you'd never heard of that either.
And now a question, do you think I sound more British or American?
When you speak English?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't think she sounds super British. She doesn't do like the ah sounds in the British way. So like, if anything, I think she sounds a little bit more American.
Yeah, I mean, I think the R's would make her sound more American than British.
Well, thank you, Anna, or Anna Maria. That was really interesting.
And
so
I learned
I guess,
something.
Yeah, so I guess, I mean, we did place it in Austria, but we didn't really know where, like, I just understood it really well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it didn't sound like super Austrian to me. Like, sometimes you hear Austrian speaking, like, okay, 100% Austrian.
Yeah.
When she was telling the story later on, I was like, okay, yes, she sounds very Austrian when she speaks standard German.
Yeah.
But the only thing that really gave me super Austrian vibes in her dialect was the Jausen.
And I didn't even know that. But she used it as a verb, right?
Yeah.
So, like, is it a noun as well?
I mean, I've only seen it as a noun, but obviously...
It's probably both then.
It's both.
That's interesting. So, like, Brotzeit machen is what that means then as a verb. So, like,
and that's why she
Brotzeit,
translated it with snacks.
And, like, Brotzeit is also kind of a German concept or German world or maybe European concept that you guys don't really have a translation for in English, but it's like when you eat sandwiches, when you eat, like, something cold
cuts,
like a cold meal where people usually sit down together at a table. And it's like when taking a break, for example, or like for dinner also in a family, and you'll just have like different breads or something like that, and then cold cuts, cheese, whatever. Like,
it's really nice.
It's like a German Abendbrot, for example, like a typical evening bread, which is an old-fashioned term for dinner in Germany, but it comes literally from the fact that traditionally, and a lot of families still do this, dinner in Germany is cold. It's a cold meal.
You have a warm lunch and then a cold dinner.
Which my family didn't do that. But I know some families still do that. So, all right, we have one more person that submitted several parts. So this is Moritz, I think. And it says, y'all talk funny, Moritz. And it says Del or Deal, probably Del / Teil / Part 1.
Okay.
So that's probably already his dialect. Like
Hi, Feli and Josh. I really enjoy your podcast and I'm interested if you can guess the language in the following message. A small tip beforehand. It is neither a dialect of German nor English, but I think you may be able to understand some of it. Good luck, or as we would say, golek. Good eye of moin. Ik ben Moritz, ik ben 22 jaar oud en ik kom van Lutsch-Eilen, der Jutseul. Had is ook de grun hoe om ik Söring no Fries snakken ken.
Friesisch?
Yeah, I was going to say it's Friesisch.
He said something Fries, didn't he? That's what my first guess was like. Okay, at first I thought Plattdeutsch because like people do consider that to be, well, not just people, but it is considered not a German dialect, but it's a different language. But then there's also Friesisch, which is like Ostfriesland is also a part of Germany, but it's also spoken in parts of
the Netherlands.
Is it also, it's not Belgium, right? It's just the Netherlands.
I think just in the Netherlands because it's right up on the
in Belgium they have Flemish instead, but like, so that's also its own language and its own culture in a way.
Yeah. Frisian, I think, is how we say it in English.
Right, yeah.
Geleerd wanneer ik een jongskoort en grundskool weer. No Friesk is een mennehersprook, een noen van Dutsklen. Man had es wo aftik naja te Engelsk is Dutsk en is ek en plat.
Can you understand a lot?
I can understand quite a bit, actually, I would say. So Tyskland is Deutschland.
Yeah, I knew that, yeah.
But he was basically saying that Frisian is considered to be the closest language to English.
Okay.
Compared to German.
He's not done yet either. Hold on, let me back it up again and I'm going to try and understand what he's saying.
Godai of moin. Ik ben Moritz, ik ben 22 jaar oud en ik kom van
21?
Yeah, I think so.
Lutje Island, der Jutsu. Had es ook de grund hoe ik Söring no Fries snacken kan. Ik hoorde geleerd wanneer
Und das ist der Grund, warum Nordfriesisch, glaube ich, hat er gesagt, sprechen kann.
Ik een jongskoort en grundskool weer. No Fries is
Grundschule.
Ja, Grundschule.
Mennehersprook, een noen van Dutsklen. Man had es wo aftik naja te Engelsk is Dutsk en is ek.
What is it?
Nayata, glaube ich, is I think Nayata means nearest or am nächsten zum Engel, so, also Englisch.
En Plattdeutsch, Dialekt.
Plattdeutsch.
Man sind einsprook. Söring her blot omtrent 600 Spreker.
Nothing.
En is dermee trouwen. Ik ben nieuwsgierig, of je me
Ich bin neugierig, ob ihr verstehen könnt.
Auf Podcast völlig Sprook en Dialekten.
Und ich freue mich auf eure nächste Podcast-Folge.
Farewell von Söll.
Hör euch später? Oder bis später, hat er am Ende gesagt. Und dann noch irgendwas.
Auf Sylt spricht man aber nicht so. I keep hearing like Sylt. But, so maybe he's from the islands.
He did say he's from one island.
Yeah,
he said the name of the island, but I don't think it's Sylt.
Okay.
I don't think that's...
Who knows? Sorry that I was talking over him, but I just was trying to translate to see what I understood.
Yeah, you understood much more than I did. I mean, I guess that's probably the English. I don't know, but I speak English too, but I didn't understand that much. But I also I struggled with like knowing which of the words were like English and German. And like, for example, when he said like Grundschule, which is elementary school, he said like Grundschule or something, or Grün. And it sounded like Grün to me at first. So like I go in completely different directions when I hear those words. But yeah, I didn't understand it as well as you did.
Okay, and here's the translation. Good day and hello. I'm Moritz. I'm 23 years old.
Oh, see, I thought he said he was 21.
Yeah,
I'm from the island of Sylt.
Oh, he is Sylt, okay.
This is the reason why I can speak the Söllring dialect.
I didn't know they spoke that on Sylt.
I didn't know that either.
That's probably ignorant of me. Krass.
Dialect of North Frisian. I learned it there in kindergarten and elementary school. North Frisian is a minority language in the north of Germany, but is actually closer related to English than German. And it is also not a dialect of Low German, but its own language. Söring has about 600 speakers and is thereby considered extremely endangered. I'm curious how much of it you could understand, and I am really looking forward to your next podcast episode about language and dialects. Till then, and goodbye from Sylt.
Very cool. Thank you for sending that.
Sylt was actually in the German news quite a lot this past summer.
Yeah. We talked about this in a hangout. I know we've talked about it podcast related, but...
Yeah, I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, but so we had the 9 € ticket in Germany, in all of Germany, which was like the €9 ticket where you could take all public transportation in all of Germany for €9 a month. Not the super fast trains, but you could take like the slower trains. And so there was like a thing where was it the mayor of Sylt, or like the tourist management of Sylt, which is, as he said, an island in northern Germany, and that island is kind of known to be like a tourist destination for like rich people, or like just in general. I think it's a place where, you know, a lot of more upper class people live and vacation at. So there's a lot of fancy restaurants and stuff like that. And so I think the people on Sylt, again, I'm not quite sure who said it exactly, but they were all like, oh no, like this is terrible. We can't have all these, I don't know if they said poor people, but I think they said like all these people come and flood our beautiful island. And then at the end that like totally backfired. It was like a whole thing that people were upset about in Germany, because it was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And they were just like saying, oh, we don't have enough capacities for everyone to come here, because now they can afford it, because I think they could get onto the island with that same ticket,
with the
right?
€9 ticket.
And then what ended up happening is that a bunch of like punks, like punk groups, did it on purpose to like provoke them. They like went to that island and just like hung out on the streets and like kind of like messed with them. Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome.
But that was a story why Sylt was recently in the news. I don't know if it ever made it to any other country, that story. But that was very interesting. I do not believe I've maybe heard like Frisian like once in my life or something like that, or like little words here and there, but I've never really heard a full story like this in Frisian. So that was very interesting. And I'm a little disappointed I didn't understand more, but
maybe we should listen to it again now though.
That we know exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, now that we know exactly what he's saying.
Okay, let's listen to it again.
Goddag, of moin. Ik ben Moritz, ik ben 22 jaar oud en ik kom van Lutch Island, der je zou. Had is op de grond hoe om ik Söring no Fries snakken ken. Ik hoor dat leert wanneer ik een jongs
Snakken, like
snakken
is snakken.
Is snakken.
Ja.
En grundschool weer. No Friesk is een mannenhersprook, een noen van Dutsklen. Man had es woaftig naja te Engelsk is Dutsk en is ek en Plattdütsk. Dialekt, man zijn einsprook. Söring her blot omtrent 600.
What's the Söring? What does he say?
Söring, I think that's the name of the dialect that he learned.
En is daarmee trouwen. Ik ben nieuwsgierig of je me verstaan ho. En ik vraag me al op je nice podcast völlig om sprook en dialecten. En je leder en farewell van Sylt.
See, I mean, it didn't really make that big of a difference.
No, I didn't understand anymore. Like, even though I knew what he was trying to say, but I still couldn't hear it in the words.
Yeah. Schnacken, we definitely understood, but...
well, he said snacken or
exactly, because like in I believe, like in the Scandinavian language, is snakker is to speak.
Yeah,
so it makes sense.
And that's like a thing, and just in general in colloquial German, mostly I want to say like Northern German, I think that's where it came from initially, is like that's also a colloquial term for
schnacken.
To talk. Yeah, schnacken.
Yeah. I guess that's it then for this episode of the Y'all Talk Funny.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for sending in your submissions. This has been really fun. I loved having some English ones there too.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Mix.
We only had like a couple German ones today, so that was really nice. But also like I'm very glad that this isn't actually a competition where we keep score, because I would never get a point. But it's still interesting for me. So like I still like to listen to it even if I can't understand something. Which like that like Frisian thing, like
that's it's
crazy.
very different. It's very different than German.
I was so surprised that you understood so much, because even the second time I didn't really understand that much more.
Yeah, I mean, in my free time I like to watch YouTube videos on languages, so I've had more exposure probably to Frisian than you. So.
You have?
Yeah, I mean I've seen videos on it before.
Okay. Yeah, but still, like, I mean, it sounded a little bit more like Dutch also.
Yeah.
So, but I can't usually understand Dutch that well either.
Yeah. I think I understood that better than I would have understood Dutch, to be honest, though.
I don't know. Well, maybe we're going to need someone to submit a Dutch thing at some point.
Hint, hint.
But I'm going to take off my headphones now so I can hear myself better. So thank you guys again for sending in all of your dialects and voice messages. We really appreciate it. We still have a few left for the next episode, which we don't know when that's going to be. Sometime when we're together in person again. But if you want to support one for whenever in the future, you can do so on anchor.fm/understandingtrainstation. And then just there at the main page, at the home page, there will be like a little message button that you can click on. And then I've never done it, so I don't even know if it's best to do it on your phone or on your computer, but you might have to try, because every now and then we get like a voice recording where something's going wrong with the audio. I don't know what that's about, but the reason why we ask you to do it this way is that this is just much easier for us to have it all in one place. And the 1 minute time limit also kind of helps
the flow.
so that we can get through different dialects in one episode, because otherwise we'll probably be stuck on one for like the whole episode if you guys just send in like 20-minute long recordings. But yeah, you can submit one there. And we're looking forward to hearing that in the future and then trying to guess your dialect or accent.
I feel like we should try to imitate accents at some point, too.
Okay.
That would be super...
I'm not good at that. I'm sure you are, though. Like,
I'm okay at it.
You're good at... I mean, I would say like imitating, quote unquote, like the native dialect. So like native accents. So you're good at speaking German with a German accent. You're good at speaking Spanish with like a Mexican.
Exactly. But when it comes to, imitating the accent in English, I'm not quite as good.
Okay.
But who knows? Maybe just throwing it out there as an idea.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to do that, to be honest.
No, I guess that could come across as offensive too. So maybe that's not the best idea.
No, it's more like because I suck at it, so I don't think I want to do it. But thank you guys so much for listening and all the nice feedback that we heard today too.
Yes.
Of course, you know that if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribed. We just recently hit 15,000 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. And then you can also activate the bell, because I know that sometimes the episodes don't really come out on Thursday. They come out like the night to Friday, or like in Germany, it's sometimes already Friday morning, especially when we record like last minute. Like last time we recorded the day before, and I just didn't get it done earlier. So in that case, you don't have to check the YouTube page 5 times a day. You can just activate the bell and then you get a notification once it's finally up.
Exactly.
And then, of course, you can subscribe to us or like hit the follow button on all the audio streaming platforms. I don't even think sometimes it's subscribe, sometimes it's follow.
You all know what we mean.
Yeah. And on Spotify, you can even leave a rating, like a 1 to 5 star. Of course, we would like a 5-star review or a 5-star rating. That would be awesome. And then on Apple Podcasts, you can also even leave a review where you type out like your experience or why you like the podcast. So that's always really cool to see that. So if you want to do that, that would be really, really cool. Thank you so much for your support.
Very appreciative.
And as we mentioned today a few more times, we have that Patreon hangout. If you're a Patreon supporter on patreon.com/understandingtrainstation, you get to take part in those. And it's basically just like a video call with us once a month. And we talk about different things and people talk to each other. So it's like a really nice thing. And sometimes we don't even remember, as earlier, like, did we say it on the podcast?
Exactly.
Or was it on the hangout? And we talked about it in regards to the last episode. Because that's kind of what we do. We like usually talk about topics that are a little bit related to the last few episodes, but then sometimes also we come up with completely different topics.
It's really just kind of a hodgepodge mix of topics that we talk about, but it's always fun. So if you guys are interested, make sure to check that out on Patreon.
Yeah, and then you can also send us a Oktoberfest Mass or coffee. But
that
right now,
very helpful right now.
It would be more like a beer on ko-fi.com/understandingtrainstation. It's ko-fi.com. And that we switched to that page because they also support PayPal still, which the other page that we used to use for that, for the tipping, stopped supporting PayPal, and that really messed with a lot of, especially German supporters, because then I think you need to have a credit card, and not a lot of Germans have credit cards, and that's just like much more practical if you can connect your PayPal. So anyways, if you want to support us there, thank you guys so much, and we will be back in 2 weeks.
We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone.
Tschüss.
Ciao.